Under this ethical issue in public sector accounting, under the ethical issue in public sector accounting, we are going to look at function of EFCC, function of ICPC, function of CCB, and function of CCT. These are all what we are going to look at under the ethical issue in public sector accounting. We will start by looking at Economic Financial Crime Commission, EFCC. Under the EFCC, this EFCC, Economic Financial Crime Commission, this commission was established in the year 2003, and the basis of the establishment is to prevent, investigate, and prosecute, sanction economic and financial crime in Nigeria. Anything that have to do with economic and financial crime, they are the ones that will investigate, prosecute, and sanction any individual found guilty of such kind of offenses in Nigeria. So this EFCC, under this EFCC, there are some provision, there are some acts that support the establishment of EFCC. There are some acts that support the establishment of EFCC. One of the acts that supports the establishment of EFCC is called Money Laundering Act of 1995. We have another one, and the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Related Offenses Act of 1995. We have Bofia Act of 1994. All these acts, they are the ones that support the establishment of EFCC. Now, what are the functions and power of EFCC? What are the functions and powers of EFCC? One of the functions and power of EFCC was that to investigate and prosecute financial crime. EFCC have a function to investigate and prosecute financial crimes. This is one of the functions of EFCC. Another one is to investigate cases of economic and financial crimes, which include fraud, money laundering, embezzlement, contract inflation, and misappropriation of public funds. This is also one of the functions of EFCC. Another one is they have, I'm listing out their power first. The powers of EFCC, I'm listing them out. The first one is, what are the powers of EFCCs? The powers of EFCCs, what power does EFCC have? So is the one I'm listing out. They have power to investigate and prosecute financial crime. They have power to prosecute, to investigate cases of economic and financial crime, which include fraud, money laundering, embezzlement, contract inflations, misappropriation of funds. They also have power to arrest, detain, and prosecute offender before the competent courts. EFCC also have powers to freeze bank accounts seize assets, or recover proceeds of unlawful activities. Another one, EFCC, they also have power to collaborate with local and international agencies in fighting financial crimes. These are the powers of EFCC. What are the duties? Which are the functions of EFCC? What are the duties or functions of EFCC? One of the duties or functions of EFCC is enforcement and due administration of provision of the Act. Enforcement and due administration of provision of the Act. This is one of the functions of EFCC. Another function of EFCC is investigation of financial crime, which include advance fee fraud, money laundering, counterfeiting, illegal charge transfers, and market fraud, credit card fraud, contract scams. They are the ones that have function to investigate all those financial crimes. Another function of EFCC is coordination and enforcement of all financial crimes law and enforcement function conferred on any other persons or authorities. Coordination and enforcement of all economic and financial crimes law. Another function of EFCC is adoption of measures to eradicate the commission of economic and financial crime. They adopt measure. They look at the measure. What measure can we use to eradicate economic and financial crimes? So these are another functions of EFCC. Why another function of EFCC is adoption of measures to identify, trace, freeze, confiscate, proceed derived from terrorist activities, economic and financial crimes related offenses, and so on. These are one of the key functions of EFCC. Now, what are the offenses and penalties under EFCC? What are the offenses and penalties under EFCC? What offenses and penalties do we have under EFCC? Offenses and penalties. One of the offenses and penalties under EFCC is offenses that relate to financial malpractice. Offenses that relate to financial what? Malpractice. These offenses that relate to financial malpractice attract 5 years imprisonment or 50,000 or both fines and offenses. Any offenses that relate to financial malpractice attract 5 years imprisonment or a fine of what? 50,000 or both imprisonment and fine. Another one is offenses associated with terrorism. Offenses associated with terrorism. These offenses associated with terrorism attract life imprisonment. These offenses associated with terrorism attract life what? Imprisonment. Another offenses is offenses committed by public officers. Offenses committed by public officers. The offenses committed by these public officers will attract 5 to 25 years imprisonment. Offenses committed by public officers will attract 15 to 25 years imprisonment. We have another one, that offenses related to economic and financial crimes. Offenses related to economic and financial what? Crimes. This one will attract 15, not less than 15 years, and not exceeding 25 years. Now, what are the ethical issues of EFCC in public sector accounting? What ethics do we need to, as a public sector accounting, what do we think is against the ethical issues, against the ethic of accounting profession that is going on in EFCC? One of them is manipulation of government account for personal enrichment. Some of these government officials, they manipulate government accounts for their own personal gain, for their own personal enrichment. Another one is laundering of stolen funds through financial institutions. Some of them, they engage in laundering of stolen funds with the aid of some financial institutions. What are the financial institutions? Like all these banks, some commercial banks, they are the one aiding, assisting all these public officers to launder stolen funds outside the countries. Another ethical issue is there is a weak enforcement or political interference of EFCC. EFCC is biased. In the enforcement of their acts, they are biased. There is a political interference. What does this one mean? If you belong to the ruling party, the kind of how EFCC is going to prosecute the ruling party members will be different from those who are in the opposition party. So this too is an ethical issue that we need to look at under the EFCC. Now, another one is, now we are looking at ethical issues in public sector accounting. We base it on different enforcement agencies. One of the enforcement agencies we have looked at today is EFCC. Now, the second enforcement agency we want to look at now, this one is called ICPC, Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offenses Commission. Independent Corrupt Practice and what? Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC. When do we establish ICPC? ICPC was established in the year 2000. ICPC was established in the year what? 2000, to fight corruptions in Nigeria. EFCC is talking of, under the EFCC, you'll be looking at financial crimes, economic crimes, financial crimes, financial malpractice. But under the ICPC, what we are talking of is corruptions. EFCC, ICPC was established in the year 2000 to fight corruptions in public sectors. Now, what are the functions of EFCC? What are the functions of EFCC? ICPC, sorry. What are the functions and powers of ICPC? One of their functions and power is investigation and prosecution. ICPC investigates any report on corrupt practices and they later prosecute the offender in court. ICPC, they investigate any report on corrupt ICPC investigate any report on what? On corrupt practice made by any persons. And they prosecute any offender in the court against such corrupt practices. They receive complaint and examine the complaint on any corrupt practices. So one of the function of or powers of ICPC, investigation and prosecution of corrupt practice in public sectors. We can summarize it as that. So in public office, investigation and prosecution of corrupt practice in public office. ICPC deals mostly on public officers, politicians, civil servants, anybody holding government position. But in the case of EFCC, they deal with both public officers and private individuals. EFCC deals with both public officers and what? Private individuals. Another function of ICPC is prevention of corrupt practice. Prevention of corrupt practice. This one has to do with the examine practice. They examine the policy or procedures that they will be used to prevent corrupt practice. And again, they put up some policy, they supervise some policy or review on elimination of corrupt practices in Nigeria. One of the functions of ICPC again is public enlightenment and education. They enlighten the general public and educate them against corruption. They enlighten the public. They enlighten the public and educate them against corruptions. So it's one of their functions. Is one of the function of what? ICPC. Another function of ICPC is they provide a policy advisory role. They advise government, public bodies on how to prevent corruption. They advise government and public bodies on how to what? Prevent corruptions. They advise government and public bodies on how to prevent corruption. They advise government and public bodies on how to prevent corruptions. Another function of ICPC is enforcement of the offenses. They enforce the offenses under the ICPC Act. They enforce the offenses under what? Under the ICPC Act. They enforce the offenses under ICPC Act. Now, please, let's try to mute our audio. Let's try to mute our audio. What are the offenses and penalties under ICPC? What are the offenses and penalties under ICPC? What are the offenses and penalties under ICPC? Number one offenses under ICPC is accepting, soliciting, or giving any gratification. Gratification means bribe. When you accept or you give or you are asking for bribe, maybe you are a government officer, you are a civil servant, you are a politician, you are not asking for bribe, you are soliciting for bribe. It's an offense. What is the penalty for that? The penalty for such kind of offense is 5 years imprisonment. 5 years imprisonment. Another one is fraudulent acquisition of properties. Fraudulent acquisition of what? Properties. When the public officer acquire property in fraudulent way, the offenses is an offense. That one is 7 years imprisonment. Another one is fraudulent receipt of property. When you receive a property through corrupt practice, the penalty for that is 5 years imprisonment. So we have several penalties and offenses under ICPC. Another one is when you are trying to bribe public officer, you are trying to bribe civil servants. The offenses of that one too is 5 years imprisonment without option of fine. Abuse of office. When you are in office, you abuse the office. 5 years imprisonment too. Another offense, failure to report bribe transaction. That one is under section 23 of ICPC Act. When you fail to report, somebody is trying to bribe you as a public officer, you fail to report him. That one is 2 years imprisonment or fine of 100,000. These are the offenses and penalties under ICPC. Now, what are the ethical issues of ICPC? What ethical issue do we try to get from this ethical ICPC? What go against the ethic of accounting profession under the ICPC? Public officer demanding for kickback before performing official function. government official, when you go to them, when you want to do collect a document in a ministry or in a government agency, they are not asking, you must give us something before we can process this document. Take, for instance, you want to collect tax clearance certificate. The tax official is now asking you for bribe. It's against the ethic of the accounting profession. It's against the constitutions. Bribery in procurement process. They want to give you a contract to supply a good in public sector or to render a service in public sector. They are not asking you for bribe, that you must bribe them before you can collect the contract. It's against the ethic of the profession. It's against the ethic of accounting profession. Conflict of interest. This one is, you are the head of agency. You are awarding contract to your company. You have a company. You are the director general of a particular agency. When they want to award the contract, they also award it to your company. It's conflict of interest. So these are the ethical issues under ICPC. These are the ethical issues under what? ICPC. Now, let's look at differences between ICPCs and EFCC. What are the differences between ICPC and EFCC? Number one difference is, we are going to look at in terms of establishment and legal framework. Number one difference is in terms of establishment and legal framework. EFCC was established in the year 2003, and its legal framework is EFCC. The legal framework of EFCC is Economic and Financial Crime Act of 2004. ICPC was established in the year 2000, and their legal framework is ICPC Act 2000. So when you want to differentiate between EFCC and ICPC, you have to look at in terms of their establishment, in terms of when was the agency, when was the commission established. ICPC, EFCC was established in the year 2003, while ICPC was established in the year 2000. Another one is in terms of mandate or function, the co-responsibility, their co-focus. EFCC, their own major focus is on anything that have to do with financial or economic crimes, such as money laundering, cyber crime, yahoo, buckery, terrorism financing, Yahoo Plus, all these kind of, that is, so anything that have to do with economic and financial crimes, 419, that is what is the focus of EFCC. Why the focus of ICPC is mainly focused on corruption in public sector. ICPC mostly focus on corruption in what? Public sector, like bribe, gratification, abuse of office by public officer. Another one, another difference in terms of scope of jurisdiction. ICPC have a broader power, broader scope. The scope of ICPC cover both public, private, and public sector. EFCC have a broader power, broader scope. The scope of EFCC covered both private and public sector financial crimes. That means if any financial crime that does not involve government go on in a company, you can invite EFCC. Take, for instance, if the managing director of a private company or the CFO embezzle fund, you can invite EFCC. When you do transaction between individuals, when there is transaction between two individuals, and somebody now, one person dupe another, 419, you can invite EFCC. So EFCC covered private and public sector financial crime. But in the case of ICPC primarily target on public officer. ICPC primarily target on what? Public officer. In terms of investigation power, EFCC has strong investigation power, but ICPC investigation power is not strong. In terms of preventive role, another difference. In terms of preventive role, EFCC focus on investigation, prosecution, and asset recovery. ICPC, their own focus on anti-corruption crusade, education, awareness, campaign against corruption in the public practice. In terms of collaboration, another difference, EFCC collaborate with international financial crimes institution. EFCC collaborate with international bodies. EFCC, they collaborate with international bodies. They collaborate with World Bank, IMF, Interpol, FBI, and so on like that. But ICPC only collaborate with local institutions like civil societies, schools. So their own is local, but ICPC is local. But in the case of EFCC, is both international and what? Local. This is one of the difference. Another difference we want to look. Another difference we want to look. High profile cases. We want to look at differences between EFCC and ICPC in terms of high profile cases. What are the cases that EFCC tag to court? EFCC, they tag a case that have to do with fraudster, internet fraud, bankers, transactions, politicians, all those cases. But in the case of ICPC, anything that have to do with contract inflation in public sector, corruptions, bribe, mismanagement of public fund, unethical practice in the public sectors. These are what ICPC focus on. Another difference between EFCC and ICPC is that EFCC does not have any time limit as to when a crime was committed. What this one mean? Let me repeat again. EFCC does not have any time limitation as to when a crime was committed. Why ICPC is limited in time to those offenses committed from year 2000. EFCC does not have any time limitation as to when a crime was committed, while ICPC is limited in time to those offenses committed from year 2000. Let me explain. We know EFCC was established in 2003. ICPC was established in 2000. But EFCC, they don't have time limitation as to when to investigate a crime, a financial crime committed. That means they can investigate a financial crime that occurred even before the date of the establishment. What I'm saying in essence is EFCC can investigate a crime that occurred before 2003 and they were established in 2003. So in the case of ICPC, they can only investigate any offenses, any corruption cases that happen from their date of establishment, which means from year 2000. But ICPC can go backward. EFCC can go backward and investigate any financial crime that occur before the date of the establishment. Another difference is EFCC has the power to prosecute direct without recourse to the Office of Auditor General. But ICPC can only prosecute through the Office of Auditor General. What this one means is that EFCC does not report to the Office of Auditor General. If EFCC want to charge anybody to court, they don't need to obtain permission from the Office of Auditor General of the Federation. But in the case of ICPC, ICPC cannot charge anyone to court without the permission of the Office of Auditor General of the Federation. That means EFCC stands independent. They are independent of Office of Auditor General of the Federation, but ICPC are not Office of Attorney General of the Federation. Auditor. We are in the public sector accounting. Office of Attorney General of the Federation, not Auditor General, Attorney General. But the case of ICPC, they are dependent on the Office of Attorney General of the Federation. So let me repeat again. EFCC has power to prosecute direct without recourse to the Office of Attorney General of the Federation. Why ICPC can only prosecute through the Office of what? Attorney General of the Federation. Are we making sense?
Yes.
We have looked at The topic is ethical issue in public sector accounting. We have looked at EFCC. We have looked at ICPC. The next one we want to look at is called CCB. CCB, Code of Conduct Bureau. CCB, Code of Conduct Bureau. So, what are the functions of CCB? CCB, one of their functions is maintain standard of public morality. They ensure that public officers conduct themselves in a manner that will uphold their integrity, their accountability, and discipline. This is one of the functions of CCB. Another function of CCB is monitoring compliance. Monitoring compliance with code of conduct. Monitoring compliance with what? Code of conduct. EFCC and CCB, they monitor compliance. They supervise and ensure that every public officer, they comply with what? With the code of what? Code of conduct. Asset declaration. Another function of CCB is asset declaration. They ensure that those who are holding the public office, the politician, the governor, the House of Rep, the Senate, they declare their assets. They fill asset declaration form. We know their assets. We know their liabilities. And this is done. This is updated on a periodic basis. Another one, they also monitor the lifestyle and conduct of public officer. They monitor the lifestyle and conduct of what? Public officer. They monitor the lifestyle and conduct of public officer. They look at those public officers that are living beyond their income. Another function of CCB, they advise government. They provide advisory role to the government on ethical standard, anti-corruption measure, and public accountability. While the last function is another function is they render public enlightenment. They educate the public. They sensitize them on how they will ensure that there is public transparency and accountability. They educate and sensitize the public officer on the need for them to ensure that they follow accountability and transparency. Why the last function of CCB is they report any cases of violation to another agency, to another commission, to another body called CCT. When somebody violates anything that have to do with public accountability, transparency, CCB cannot prosecute them. They will refer them. They will report the case to another body called what? Code of Conduct Tribunal.
Okay,
Code of Conduct Tribunal. CCT. Apart from function of CCB, we have their power too. Their power is stated separate.
Code of
One of
conduct.
the power, please, let's try to mute our audio. One of the power of CCB is to investigate against misuse of power in public sector, abuse of public office. They also have the power to summon and obtain information, documents that have to do with misuse of public office. They can ask that all the public official, all the elective office holder to submit their bank account details, their information. And CCB can prosecute. They will prosecute through which office? Through CCT. They can prosecute through CCT. CCB too, one of their power is to enforce sanction, but they can only enforce sanction through another body called what? CCT, Code of Conduct Tribunal. So we have looked at that. So what are the offenses that we have under CCB, under Code of Conduct Bureau? What are the offenses that we have? One of the offenses under Code of Conduct Bureau is when a public officer failed to declare assets, failure to declare assets. One of the offenses is failure to declare what? Assets. It's an offense. Once you fail to declare your assets, you'll be prosecuted as a public officer. You'll be prosecuted. CCB will take you to a court. That court is called Code of Conduct Tribunal. Maintenance of foreign accounts. As a public officer, you are prohibited to maintain foreign bank accounts. Once you are caught that you have a foreign bank account, you will be prosecuted in a court called CCT. Engagement in private business, except farming. As a public officer, while you are in office, you cannot be doing private business. You may own a private business, but you cannot be working in full-time in those private business while you are still in office. While you are in office, you cannot be, maybe you own a law firm. You are now being elected as a governor. You cannot be running the law firm again. The law firm will be running. It's still owned by you, but you cannot be going to court. Except farming. While you are in public office, maybe you are a governor, you are a senator, you are this. You can be running a farming business. You can be running that farming business on a full time. You can go to your farm and be working. Another offense is when you are caught that you belong to member of a secret society, secret court. This is common nowadays. For you to be, some people will say, if you want to be rich, if you want to be in a high class, you have to do what? You have to belong. So as a public officer, you are prohibited of joining all this secret court and so on like that. It's against the law. Abuse of office. When you abuse office, maybe you are using public properties as your personal gain, as your personal business, personal benefits. It's against the law. Now, what ethical issue can we obtain from CCB as a public sector? In public sector, in accounting, what ethical issue do we think can arise from Code of Conduct Bureau? one of the ethical issues is non-disclosure of falsification, non-disclosure, or you falsify your assets. It's against the accounting profession. As an accountant, if you are elected as a public officer, you are elected as a governor, you are elected as a president, you are elected as a chairman of local government, you don't need to, you need to declare your assets. Secondly, if you declare your asset, don't falsify your asset. Don't falsify the record of your assets. Abuse of office for personal benefits is against the accounting professions too. This one too is against the accounting profession. Lack of transparency in financial reporting and stewardship. This one too is against the accounting profession. If you don't give transparency report in the office you are holding as a public officer, it's against the accounting profession. So we have looked at that. Another one we want to look at is called Code of Conduct Tribunal. Like I said earlier, under the CCB, when you want to charge anybody to court under the CCB, you take them to a court called Code of Conduct Tribunal. So this court, their function is to adjudicate. That means to charge anybody to court that breach Code of Conduct. Code of Conduct means you need to declare your asset. You don't need to falsify your asset. You don't need to abuse office. You don't need to have personal gain, conflict of interest. Code of Conduct Tribunal, they also uphold ethical standards. They also uphold ethical standards. That means they ensure that there is a discipline, they discipline the public officer that go against the law. Another one is they promote good governance. They ensure that corruption is reduced. All the public officer, they are following the due process. So this is one of their functions. What are the power of CCT? They carry out they have judiciary power. That means they have power to make a judgment, either to sentence somebody to imprisonment. The power of CCT is just like power of an high court. When they make a judgment, that judgment is prevailing as a judgment of an high court. They can sentence somebody to imprisonment, to prison. They can ask somebody to pay fine. They also have a sanction power. Sanction power means they can sanction any public officer that henceforth you will not be elected into public position. Sanction. For the next 10 years, you will be banned to contest for any public position. That is sanction. Seize of asset. They can order that your asset, this asset you stole while you are in the office, is going to be seized by the. So these are the powers. Now, for the sake of time, under the ethical issue in public sector accounting, let's look at another one called public account committees. Public account committee. This Public Account Committee, they are the Committee of National Assembly. They are the member of National Assembly. They perform a post-mortem function on the Auditor General report. Public Account Committee, they are the Committee of National Assembly. They perform a post-mortem function on the Auditor General report. Public Account Committee. The National Assembly, both Senate and House of Rep, they have Public Account Committee. Separately. This committee, they look at the report of Auditor General. When the Auditor General prepares his report, they look at the report of the Auditor General. So they perform a post-mortem function on the Auditor General report. This committee, there are Section 85 of the Constitution empower the National Assembly to set up, to appoint a Public Account Committee. They are the member of the National Assembly, but what they do is they look at Auditor General report. That means Auditor General report to them. Auditor General report to National Assembly. But if Auditor General want to report to National Assembly, he's going to report to the National Assembly through a committee called Public Account Committee. Through a committee called Public Account Committee. So this committee is established by Section 85 of the Constitution. This committee is established by Section what? 85 of the Constitution. Every state house of assembly too, they will have Public Account Committee. Now, let's look at function of Public Account Committee. What are the function of Public Account Committee? What are the function of Public Account Committee? Let's look at their function. Number one function of Public Account Committee is to examine the Auditor General report. To do what? Examine the Auditor General report. We are going to look at their function and their power. And we are going to look at their importance. And lastly, we will look at the challenges of this committee. We will look at the challenges of this committee. One of the functions, like I mentioned, is to examine what? The report of Auditor General. They examine the report of Auditor General. What that one means is they look at Auditor General report and they make recommendation whether this report is on true and fair view or not. They look at Auditor General report. PAC, Public Account Committee, they examine Auditor General report submitted by the Auditor General and they make recommendation whether the report is on true and fair view. Another one, oversight of public fund. Auditor General Public Account Committee, they carry out oversight function on monitoring of government revenue, government expenditure in line with the law and guideline. Another function that they have is they scrutinize ministry, department, and agency. When they receive a report of mismanagement of government fund or wastage of public resources, they invite those involved and they scrutinize them. They ask questions. This committee, they also report their findings and recommendations to the National Assembly for further actions. This committee reports their findings and recommendations to the National Assembly for what? For further legislative actions. Lastly, this committee ensure compliance. This committee, they ensure compliance and they take corrective action against public officer for violation of financial regulations. Now, what are the power of this committee? What are the power? They have power to invite any public officer to come and give report, any accounting officer to come and give report or explanation on government financials, on financial status of government. They also have power to sanction or recovery any stolen government fund. They can recommend for sanction, recovery of any stolen government fund. This committee, they also have power. They also have the power to order special investigation. They can ask president, the president of the country, that set up a committee to investigate. 5 billion is missing in a particular agency. Set up a committee to investigate. We'll receive a report about that. So those are their power. What are the importance of this committee? One of the importance of this committee is they promote transparency and accountability in the public sector. They promote what? Transparency and accountability in the public sectors. This committee also prevents corruption and mismanagement of resources. They prevent corruptions and mismanagement of resources. This committee, they also ensure that they strengthen the check and balances between legislator and executive. Why do we have 3 arms of government? Why do we have 3 arms of government? We have executive, we have judiciary, we have what? Legislative, Abi. These 3 arms of government, why do we have them? Is to enhance check and balances. Check and what? Balances. If the executive are misbehaving, both judiciary and legislative can check them, checkmate them. If legislators are misbehaving, both executive and judiciary can checkmate them. However, if judiciary too are misbehaving, both executive and legislator can checkmate them. That is what we call check and balances. Check and what? Balances. What are the challenges of PAC, Public Account Committee in Nigeria? What are the challenges? One of the challenges of PAC is political interference. Political what? Interference. The ruling party, the party that are in government, if any of the officer, if any of the member is being caught on mismanagement of government fund or embezzlement of government fund, if PAC invites the person to appear before the committee, at the end of the day, they are going to settle it outside the committee because they are member of the same party. They know that this one is our party member. They are going to settle it at the back door. We will not hear anything about the case again. As time goes on, the case will die down. Another challenges that this committee have is delay of submission of Auditor General report. Auditor General, sometimes they delay to submit their audited account to this committee. This will make the committee to delay their findings. This will make the committee to spend more time on reviewing the report because the report was not submitted at the right time. Sometimes another weaknesses or another challenges of this committee is most of the enforcement, most of the recommendations made by this committee, most of them are not enforced. Most of the recommendations made by the committee, they are not what? They are not enforced. Another challenges of this committee is inadequate technical capacity. Most of the members of this committee, we call it Public Account Committee, who's supposed to be the chairman of Public Account Committee. Which professional supposed to be the chairman of this Public Account Committee? Who do you think? Somebody that they should appoint as a chairman of Public Account Committee, who's supposed to be the chairman based on his profession. Who do you think? I'm hearing you. Who's supposed to be the chairman of Public Account Committee? Who's supposed to be the chairman? Which member of National Assembly supposed to be appointed as the chairman of Public Account Committee based on his profession? Oh yeah, now.
An accountant.
An accountant. Somebody that know about accounting, auditing. But what we are having is when they want to appoint a chairman of Public Account Committee, somebody, assuming I'm the Senate president, if I'm the Senate president, when I want to become the Senate president, those who support me, those who voted for me, and I'm now the Senate president, I'm going to give them juicy what? I'm going to give them juicy committee. One of the juicy committee is Public Account Committee. I will not even mind whether this person is an accountant or not. So most of the members of Public Account Committee, they don't know anything on accounting. They don't know anything on auditing. You want to audit account. You want to be an auditor. You don't know anything on accounting. You don't know anything on auditing. You don't know anything on IPSAF. You don't know anything on IFRS, IAS. So what are you auditing? What recommendation are we going to give? How can you know that there's weaknesses in the control system? How can you know that there's you understand? So inadequate technical capacity. So most of the member of the committee, especially the chairman, are not an accountant. Another challenges of the committee is corruption and compromise among committee. Corruption and what? Compromise among committee. We should understand this. I don't need to open my mouth to open this. Most of the members of the committees too, they are human beings. At the end of the day, when they receive a report that NNPCO embezzle 5 billion, 25 trillion naira. When they receive that report, they will invite the managing director of NNPC. At the end of the day, this committee, they are not after ordinary Nigeria. They are not after the public. They are not after how do you recover that stolen fund. What they are after, you people should know. They will be willing that, what is my own share from what you have stolen? At the end of the day, when you review this committee, we have not seen in practice, if you are in public sector, you have not seen any cases that this committee, this public account committee, they start and they finish successful and they recover fund. What is the essence of the committee? I always ask myself, even what is the essence of EFCC? What is the essence of ICPC? I'm sorry for saying that. If we cannot have successful cases, successful prosecution of offender, and they are charged to court, they imprison they sentence them to an imprisonment. Is rare. Is rare. I'm not saying it does not happen, but it's not common. Most of those who steal government money, they go away scot-free. So that is on public account committee. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we need to say on ethical issues in public sectors accounting. This is what we need to know more on ethical issue in public sector accounting. So, as we are rounding up this ethical issue now, we need to go to another topic. This one too is a short topic. It is called transcript. Transcript. We are going to solve question here. Transcript. What do we understand by transcript? Transcript simply means summary of total payment and receipt as posted in the cash book. The summary of income and expenditures as posted in the cash book. The summary of total receipt and payment of a ministry, extra ministerial department as posted in the cash book. I've shared the material now. Are we seeing the material on the screen now? Are we seeing this transcript material on the? Can you see the transcript material on the screen?
Yes,
We
sir.
can see your screen, sir, but we are saying that you share it in the group so that we can
After
follow.
the class, I will share it in the group. Both the topic I discussed today, the first one and the second one, I will share it. Transcript is normally prepared by self-accounting and sub-self-accounting units. Transcript is normally prepared by self-accounting and sub-self-accounting units. Like we said, transcript is the summary of total receipt and payments of the government as posted in the cash book. We can as well call it statement of income and expenditure of the government on a monthly basis. Transcript is prepared every month. Every ministry, extra ministerial department, government agency, they normally prepare transcript every month. Type of transcript. What are the type of transcript we have? Number one type of transcript we have, it is called cash transcript. Cash transcript is the main transcript. Cash transcript is the what? Is the main transcript. Cash transcript is the main, is also called main transcript. It is the transcript prepared by self-accounting unit and sub-self-accounting unit. After finishing preparing this transcript, they now submit it to the Office of Accountant General of the Federation on a monthly basis. That means cash transcript is the transcript prepared by every ministry and extra ministerial department and submitted to the Office of what? Accountant General of the Federation on a monthly basis. Another one is called main transcript. Another type of transcript we have is called main transcript. Main transcript, this transcript, it is used for hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So another type of transcript that we have is called supplementary transcript. Supplementary transcript, it is an adjustment to the main transcript. It is used to correct errors. It is used to correct errors in the main transcript. What are the errors? It ensures that the main transcript followed the principles of double entries. Why the light type of transcript that we have is the last type of transcript that we have is called subsidiary transcript. Subsidiary transcript is used to correct error of omission in the main transcript. Subsidiary transcript is used to correct error of omission in the main what? In the main transcript. Now, what are the documents attached to transcript? Document attached to transcript. What document? If you want to prepare a transcript, you want to submit a transcript to the Accountant General Office. What are the supporting documents that you need to attach to that transcript? If you want to submit a document to the Accountant General Office, what are the documents that you need to attach to the transcript? Document attached to the transcript. One of the documents attached to the transcript is called bank reconciliation statements. Bank what? Reconciliation statements. Another one is certificate of cash and bank balances. Certificate of cash and bank balances. Why another one is certificate of voucher pre-listed. Certificate of vouchers pre-listed. Certificate of vouchers pre-listed. We have another one, certificate of schedules of expenditures. First one is called bank reconciliation statement. Second one is called certificate of cash and bank balances. Third one, schedules of vouchers, schedules of outstanding voucher pre-listed, schedules of outstanding vouchers. Why the fourth one is schedules of vouchers pre-listed. The last document attached to the transcript is called schedules of expenditures. Schedules of what? Expenditures. These are the documents attached to the transcript. Now, how do we prepare transcript? What are the procedure to follow while preparing a transcript? First is, if you want to prepare a transcript, you obtain cash book used for the month. Obtain cash book used for the month. Second is obtain all vouchers posted in the cash book. Let me just repeat again. If you want to prepare a transcript, like I said, this transcript is prepared every month. And if you want to prepare this transcript now, first is you need to obtain a cash book used for the month. Second is obtain all vouchers posted in the cash book. The next one is check all the vouchers in the cash book and ensure that there is no error of omission, error of commission, and error of what? Transposition. Check all the vouchers into the cash book and ensure that there is no error of what? Omission, error of commission, and error of what? Transposition. Now, the next thing is you need to cast the cash book. Cast means you want to total it. You want to verify whether the total stated in the cash book is correct by calculating it on your own. Cast the cash book to ascertain arithmetical accuracy. Cast the cash book to ascertain arithmetical accuracy of the closing balance. Once you do that, you now prepare. After that, pre-list the voucher into various head and sub-head. Head means those item and income, item of income and expenditures that you can trace them direct into the budget. But sub-head, those item and income and expenditures that you cannot trace them direct into the budget. They are the sub-head. So, pre-list the voucher. Those voucher means your evidence of payment. The voucher that you prepare when you want to make payments. You pre-list them. You classify, you break them into head and what? Sub-head. After you have break them, you prepare schedule for each of the head and sub-head. After that schedule you prepare for each of the head and sub-head, you can cast them. You cast the schedule prepare for head and sub-head. You cast the schedule prepare for the head and what? For the sub-head. You cast them. After you have cast them, you can now post them into the analysis book. The analysis book means into the transcript book. So these are, after you do that, you balance the transcript. You balance the transcript. Now, let's talk about part of transcript, main part of the transcript. Generally, transcript is divided into two parts. We have income, we have expenditures. Income and what? Expenditure. The income side of the transcript, you divide it into two. Above the line item and below the line item. The expenditure side of the cash book too, you divide it into two. Above the line item and below the line item. The income side of the cash book, you divide it into two. Above the line item and below the line item. The expenditure side of the transcript too, you divide it into two. Below the line item, above the line item, and below the line item. That means under the income part of the transcript, you will have below the line income and above the line income. Under the expenditure part of the transcript, you will have above the line expenditure and below the line expenditures. Now, what are the above the line items? What are the above the line items? What are the above the line items? Above the line item, they are the items of income and expenditures. They are the items and income and expenditure in which the amount can be traced direct into the budget. They are the items of income and expenditure which contain in the appropriation act for the year. Appropriation act means budget. All those items of income and expenditure that we have stated clearly, the amount is clearly stated in the budget, is called above the line item. That means you can trace such an amount into the appropriation act. It is an above the line item. Below the line item, what? Hear me?
I can hear
Yes.
you, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Another example of above the line items that we have, tax receivable. Tax receivable. They are all above the line items. What are the examples of below the line items? Okay, let's talk about below the line item. What is below the line item? Below the line item, they are the items of income and expenditure which are not budgeted for in the year. That means the exact amount of these items are not clearly stated, are not known at the time of budget preparation. Those items and income and expenditures that are not contained in the budget, they are called below the line items. That means the exact amount is not known at the time of budget preparation. Example of below the line item: touring advance, motor vehicle advance, housing loan, salary advance, deposit held on third parties, remittance, cash transfers. Let me repeat again. What are the examples of below the line items? Touring advance, motor vehicle advance, housing loan, salary advance, deposits held on behalf of third parties, remittance, cash transfer. All these are the example of what? All these are the example of what? Below the line items. Now, the next area we need to go to, I said when I'm defining transcript, I said transcript, they are the summary of receipt and payments prepared by self and sub-self accounting units on a monthly
Supplement
basis.
transcript, subsidiary transcript. This cash transcript is the main steps of accounting is self-account.
Please, let's try to mute our audio. When you have a question, you can signify, so your question will be addressed. So I said transcripts, they are the summary of receipt and payments prepared by self-accounting unit and sub-self accounting unit on a monthly basis. Now, I want to look at type of accounting unit that we have in public sector. What are the type of accounting units that we have in public sector? Accounting unit means department that prepare accounts. Type of department that prepare, type of department that we have in public sector. Type of, you understand? Now, there are three types of accounting units in the public sector. We have self-accounting units, sub-self-accounting units, and non-self-accounting units. First one is self-accounting unit. Second one is sub-self-accounting unit. The last one is what? Non-self-accounting unit. What is self-accounting unit? Self-accounting unit is a ministry or extra-ministerial department. Self-accounting unit is a ministry or extra-ministerial department that have a full control over its accounting records. Self-accounting unit is a ministry or extra-ministerial department that have a full control over its accounting records. That means these units can prepare its accounts, its financial statements. They can prepare their financial statement by themselves. This unit have an accounting department. They have internal audit department. They have a full account. They have an accounting software. They generate their financial statement every month by themselves. They do not depend on other department, other ministry, other units that will help them to prepare the account. They have qualified accountants. Example of self-accounting unit. Ministry of Finance is a self-accounting unit on its own. Ministry of Work, Ministry of Education, Ministry of all those ministries that we have, Ministry of Health, they are self-accounting units. Why do we call them self-accounting unit? Each of the ministry, under each of the ministry, there is an accountant there. There is a qualified accountant. There is an accounting department under each of the ministry that handle their financial accounts, that handle their financial report, that generate report every month. Now, for a ministry or department or an agency to become a self-accounting unit, what are the conditions that a ministry or a department or an agency of government must fulfill before that agency can become a self-accounting unit? What are the conditions? Number one, they must have a fully constituted internal audit unit. They must have a fully constituted internal what? Audit unit. That means that ministry must have an internal audit department that audit the accounts. They must also have an accounting code, accounting manual. They must have an accounting code, accounting manual that show how you post their transaction, how you classify their transactions. They must have a well-equipped central pay office. That means they must have a cash office where they make payment for cash. They must have adequate manpower in their finance and account departments. They must have adequate manpower in their finance and account departments. They must have a secured vouchers room. They must have a secured vouchers room. They must have an accounting package, accounting software. They must have an accounting package or an accounting software. So these are the conditions that must be met before you can become a self-accounting unit. What are the advantages of self-accounting units? What are the advantages of self-accounting units? It encourages initiative at the unit level. That means self-accounting units increase motivation of the staff, because the staff, they are the one handling their account by themselves. They have an accountant, they have department. They did not transfer it to another department to help them prepare their financial. All their financial statements are prepared by their ministry. It reduced communication gap, and it also increased flexibility and reduced communication gap. It increased flexibility and reduce communication gap. Another one, it provides an avenue for on-job training. It provides an avenue for what? On-job training. It facilitates the process of decision making at unit level. It facilitates the process of decision making at unit level. What are the disadvantages of self-accounting units? Self-accounting unit could make coordination to be difficult, particularly when there is large number of self-accounting units. Coordination will be difficult because this self-accounting, meaning that it is not accountant general that prepare their financial statement. They prepare their financial statement by themselves. They will now later submit it to accountant general. What this one is saying now is, at the end of the day, accountant general will need to consolidate all the financial statement of all the ministry together to become one. That consolidation is going to take him time, stress. Some people believe that why can't accountant general be preparing the financial statement at the scratch rather than each of the ministry having the account department? All the account department should be in the office of accountant general. That means Ministry of Health Account Department is in the Office of Accountant General. Ministry of Education, Office of Accountant General. The Accountant General should be preparing everything from the scratch. Some people believe it will make job of Accountant General to be easier. There's some people saying that, no, let them prepare it. Let every ministry have their own account department. After every ministry prepare the account department, every month they will be submitting their financial statement to Accountant General. Accountant General will now consolidate it together. But that consolidation is very difficult. That is the number one disadvantage. Number two, the existence of many communication lines among various units. The existence of many communication lines among various units. This one to affect. So, for the sake of time, let's look at sub-serve accounting units. Sub-serve accounting unit. What do we understand by sub-serve accounting unit? Sub-serve accounting unit, they have a similar function with sub-serve accounting unit. They perform the same function of the serve accounting unit. What is different is that while they are submitting their transcript to the Accountant General, if sub-serve accounting unit want to submit their transcript to the Accountant General, they are going to attach the following documents. That means sub-serve accounting unit too, they prepare their own account by themselves. Sub-serve accounting unit, they also prepare their own account by themselves. They have full control over the accounting records. But what made them to be different from the serve accounting unit is every month, if they want to submit transcript to the Accountant General, they need to attach the following document. What are the documents that they need to attach? Number one, bank reconciliation statement. Number two, schedules of voucher pre-listed. Number three, duplicate copy of payment vouchers. Number four, original copy of cash book. Number five, certificate of cash and balances. If serve accounting unit want to submit their transcript to the Accountant General, they will attach all these documents. That is serve accounting unit. Non-serve accounting units. What are the non-serve accounting units? Non-serve accounting units, they are the ministry and extra-ministerial department that don't have control over the accounting record. That means this non-serve accounting unit cannot prepare their financial statements by themselves. Example of non-serve accounting unit, Code of Conduct Bureau in every state. Every state, we have the branch of Code of Conduct Bureau. Public Compliance Commission office in a state too. Every state, we have public compliance commissions. National Population Commission office in every state. National Population Commission office in every state too. So all these are the example of non-serve accounting units. Now, what are the formats? Format of a transcript. What format do we use to prepare a transcript? What are the formats for preparation of a transcript? What format do we use to prepare a transcript? If you want to prepare a transcript, like I said, we have debit and we have credit. For the debit, that is receipt or income. For the credit, that is payments or expenditures. So these are the major format, the main format of a transcript. At the end of the day, we have opening balance. When you add the receipt, which is the income, you less payment, you are going to get your closing balance. Opening balance, add the receipts, less your payment, you will get your what? Your closing balance. Now, let's look at a question on this transcript. Let's look at a question on transcript. Let's solve a question on transcript. Question 1. Somebody should help us read question 1 on transcript. Question 1.
Let me read, sir.
Okay.
Good morning. All right. You are the accounting technician for the Ministry of Agriculture. The following information are available in the records of the ministry for the month of December 2012. Balances brought forward 1st December 2012. Bank debit 3 million. Cash debit 4,800. Okay. Revenue items collected during the month of December 2012 were above the line. Classification description. Other internal revenue, bank 120,000. License fee, bank 200,000. Royalty on agric inputs, bank 8,000. Water rate, cash 12,000. Tender fees, cash 28,000. Registration fees from contractors, cash 20,000. Rent on junior staff quarters, cash 7,200. Rent on senior staff quarters, 10,000. Below the line, repayment of salary advance, cash 12,000. Repayment of spectacle advance, 4,000. I think that is all, sir.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Payments effected during the month were above the line. Personnel cost, bank 1,200,000. Transport 200,000. Stationery, bank 400,000. Utilities, cash 16,000. Vehicle maintenance. Okay.
Okay.
Vehicle maintenance, cash 12,000. Below the line, salary advance, bank 16,000. Spectacle advance 6,000. You are required to prepare the transcript of the ministry for the month of December 2012. That's the end of the
Thank you
question.
very much. So while you are preparing this question, the head of the name of the ministry must be stated first. Ministry of Agriculture. Ministry of what? Agriculture. Transcript.
Agriculture.
The heading. Transcript for the month of December 2000 and what? 2012. So you will start with income or revenue. Under your revenue for the transcript, we have head, sub-head, description, amount, subtotal, and what? Total. Head, sub-head, description, amount, subtotal, and what? Total. That is the heading of a transcript. Head, sub-head, description, amount, subtotal, and what? Total. The first thing you, under the revenue, you write revenue must come first. Under this revenue, what is the balance brought forward in the question? What is the balance brought forward? The balance brought forward in this question, the balance brought forward both cash and bank. Bank 3 million, cash 4,008. You will write that under your revenue. That your balance brought forward for bank and for cash. Let's go back to the heading. Your heading, like I said, head, subhead, description, amount. After the amount, you have subtotal. After the subtotal, you now also have what is called total. That means the heading of a transcript are in 6 column or row. First, head, subhead, description, that is number 3. Number 4, amount. Number 5, subtotal. And number 6, total. Our revenue must come first. Under the revenue, your balance brought forward, both bank and cash. You will go and put it under the total. Balance brought forward, both bank and cash. You will put it under the total. After that, you are still under revenue. You now write above the line revenue. You will write above the line what? Revenue. What are the above the line revenue I have? What are the above the line revenue?
Salary.
Revenue. I've scrolled the revenue.
Above the line, okay. Other internal revenue.
First above the line revenue I have is other what?
Other internal revenue, bank, license
Other
fee.
internal revenue.
Yes.
If you look at other internal revenue, we have 06/1.
Yes.
License fees too. We have what?
06/2.
That means other internal revenue and license fee, they have the same head. They have the same what?
The same head.
Their head number is 06. Why the sub head number is what? 1 for other internal revenue. For license fee, 2.
2, yes.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Under the revenue item, do we have any head above the line revenue that also start from 06 again? Let's see. Do you have anyone that also start from 06 under the above the line revenue?
No, we don't have any other one. Aside those 2.
That means the 206 that we have is other internal revenue and license fee. So if you want to go and post that, you can see I put it under the head. Look at the head, 06. Sub head is what?
1 and 2.
So when I write head 06 sub head 1, other internal revenue, the amount, I'm going to put it under the amount. The amount is how much? 120. I will put it under the amount. I will go to the second one. Head 06 again. Sub head 2. License fee. How much is that?
200,000.
I will put it under the amount. At the end of the day, I have only 2 at 06. I have how many at 06?
Only 2.
I will add the 2 together. If I add the 2 together, how much is it giving me?
320,000.
320,000. You are going to put it where? In the sub total. In the what?
Subtotal.
Subtotal. You go back to the revenue again. You go back to where? The revenue again. The next head that we have, it's S07. Royalty and agric input, 8,000. We also have another head, S07, subhead 2, water rate, 12,000. That means we have two at 07 in this question. The two at 07 I have together. I'm going to do what?
Add them
I'm
together.
going to add them together. And it will give me what?
20,000.
20,000. Under the above the line revenue again, I have another head, head 10, sub head 8, tender fee. Since only one head 10 that we have, we don't have two head 10, we have only one, Abi?
Yes, sir.
If you go and check the question, instead of putting it in the amount, you take it to where?
Take it to subtotal straight.
Since that is the only head that you have. Head 11 too, under the revenue, above the line revenue. Head 11. Registration fee from contractors. You put it under the subtotal, 20,000. $20,000. Since that is the only head that we have. Head 12. Head 12. We have head 12 subhead 11. Rent on junior staff quarter, 7,002. Head 12 sub head 12. Rent on senior staff quarter, 10,000. At the end of the day, since they are the same head, you will not put it under the subtotal. You first put it under the what?
Under the amount column.
Under the amount column. The two of them together is giving you 17,002. That 17,002, you now go and put it where?
Under the subtotal column.
Under the subtotal column. We are still under revenue. We move to below the line revenue. Below the line what?
Below the line revenue.
Revenue. For the below the line revenue, one of the below the line revenue I have, that one has a 2011. Repayment of salary advance. Repayment of what? Salary advance. 12,000. I put it under the subtotal because it has only one head. Another one.
Repayment of spectacle advance.
Yes, 3011. 4,000. 3011. 4,000. I put it under the subtotal. At the end of the day, you need to add all your subtotal together, starting from 320, 20,000, 28,000, 20,000, 17,002, 12,000, and 4,000. You will add everything together, all your subtotal. When you add all your subtotal together, what are you going to do? When you add all your subtotal together, all your subtotal, when you add it together, you will get all your subtotal. When you add it together, you will get a total of 421,200. That 421,200, you will put it under where? Under the total. That 421,200. 421,200. You are going to put it under where? Under the total. Can we see that?
No, we are not. I can't see the total. All right. Scroll up, sir. Yes, yes, can see it now. 420,200.
421,200. Please, let's try to mute our audio. 421,200. This 421,200, you will add it together with the what? With the opening balance. 421,200. You will add it together with the opening what?
The opening balance.
Opening balance. Opening balance 4,800, 3 million, 4,800, 3 million, and plus the 421,800. That means your total revenue is going to be 3,426,426,000. Your total revenue will be what? 3,426,000. Once you are done with your revenue, you will move to your expenditures. Once you are done with your revenue, you will move to where?
Expenditure.
Expenditure. Start from above the line what?
They are above the line expenditure.
So,
We have
what are the above the line expenditure that we have? For the above the line expenditure, 24/1. That 24 is the head. Why the subhead is what?
is 1.
1. Personnel cost, 1,200,000. We have another one. 24 times what?
24 as slash 2.
Transport, 200.
Yeah.
Abi?
Yes, sir.
Another one. 24 slash what?
Slash 3. Stationary.
24/4. Utilities. Abi?
Yes, sir.
16,000. All the above the line expenditure, they have the same words.
The same heading and difference of heading.
So the same head. Let's go and look at the solution. Under the expenditure, you can see 24 is the head. Subhead 1. 24 subhead 2. Transport 200,000. 24 subhead 3 stationary fund. You will put them, since they have the same head. Where are you going to put them?
You put them under amount first.
Amount. Since they have the same words.
The same head.
Assuming all of them, each of them have different head. Where am I going to put them?
You put
Subtotal.
some subtotal.
Subtotal. Since they have the same head, I will put them under the amount. So all the total above the line expenditure, the total above the line expenditure is 1,828,000. That is above the line expenditures. Below the line expenditure, they have different heads. Salary advance, 16,000. Spectacle advance, 6,000. Since they have the same different head, you go and put them under the subtotal. Under the what? Subtotal. That is where you put them. At the end of the day, the total of above the line plus below the line, you total everything together. you will get total expenditure of how much?
$1,850,000.
That means your total expenditure is 1,850,000. Your balance carry forward. Balance carry forward means the difference between your total revenue and expenditure. How much is your total revenue?
3,426,000.
And your total expenditure?
1,850,000.
The difference between the two is how much?
1,576,000.
That is your balance carry forward. Do we have any question here?
Yes, I do. Sir, in the question,
Yes.
I saw something like bank cash. So I was thinking,
You will not do the same thing.
okay, so we don't
Yes.
need to pay attention to the bank and cash. Just
No,
have to.
you don't need to pay attention to that.
All right. Just to be
Any
clear.
other one?
No, nothing from me now.
Any other one? Another one we need to know. Another thing we need to know is if a question on transcript come out and they did not give us, they just stated revenue. They did not tell us above the line. They did not tell us below the line. How do we know that this revenue is above the line? How do we know that this revenue is below the line? They stated expenditure. They did not tell us above the line. They did not tell us below the line. How do we know? Anything advance, loan. What type of item is that? Is it above the line or below the line?
Below the line.
Below the line. If we see salary advance, is it below the line expenditure or below the line revenue? Salary advance is below the line expenditure. But
Okay.
repayment of salary advance is below the line what?
Revenue.
Motor vehicle advance is below the line what?
Expenditure.
Repayment of motor vehicle advance is below the line what?
Revenue.
So please, let's know that. Do we understand? There are so many questions here that I've solved. The solution is here. After the class, you can lay your hand on the question and the solution are there already. So thank you. We are almost spent 30 minutes extra. And I think we enjoyed the class today. Do you understand? I'm happy that we covered 2 topics today. By next week too, we'll try as much because PSAF is too voluminous. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
And I'm happy now. ICAN have released their study pack. There are some new areas that we need to touch our hand to. One of them I've discussed them this morning, ethical issue in accounting. By next week again, I will look at some other new area in the syllabus. And in the ICAN pack, we look at it. Do you understand? I pray by next week too, we should be able to look at 2 topics, so that we can cover on time. Because PSAF, the syllabus is very simple. PSAF is one of the simplest course, but the syllabus is very voluminous. That is the problem. So we should try and cover as much as possible the important area. So, and I pray God will help us. Thank you for having me. Have a nice day.